Greetings and blessings of love to all. I am Dr. Mary Ivy, Chief Executive Officer of Maine Avenue Ministries. We are both appreciative and delighted to have you join us for our scholarship and education program as we present series number 3 of Leadership and Legacies, Standing on Our Ancestors' Shoulders. Due to an allergy condition today, I am unable to appear before you in person. So please accept my apology. We are grateful to our participants, impressionist, and technical director, most of whom have been working with us since series 1, after which we were archived at the United States Library of Congress in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. Subsequently, we've added America's Rural Broadway platform, which provides access to the public at large. We named our platform America's Rural Broadway because the executive producer was born in a rural town in Oklahoma. In other words, our Broadway may be a school auditorium, gymnasium, lawn, or any other setting that we authorize. The program you are witnessing is Maine Avenue's American Rural Broadway platform today. All of our Maine Avenue programs are under the umbrella of love, race, and grace. Love is the acronym for Let's Overcome Violence Everywhere. Race is the acronym for reaching across color lines everywhere. And grace is great relationships and cultural education. We have taken our definition for love, race, and grace from Webster's Universal College Dictionary. The definition for love shares and represents the concern for the well-being of others. An example is love your neighbor as yourself. Now, this doesn't mean just the neighbor who lives next door to you, nor the neighbor in the block, but it means anybody who is in distress and in need of help, any kind of assistance at all. Race is most often based on genetic characteristics, skin tones, blood groups, languages, and cultures. And grace is the divine energy of affection, rolling plentifully toward the surroundings of all human need. This scholarship and education program includes involvement, action, diversity, equality, and justice as we continue to face community and world violence, abuse, bullying, and adversity. Maine Avenue always speaks of peace, faith, hope, and concern for the best lives of all people. Maine Avenue's advisory board includes a former Superior Court judge, 2 attorneys, a financial officer, a national parliamentarian, a blind person, an autistic person, a person with ADHD, and all educators and other people who have concern about what we do. They are our shared megaphone group of Forward Focus. They are our shared megaphone group for Forward Focus. This impressionist group today represents the talented leadership and legacy actions of persons who were blessed with outstanding gifts, shared and treasured on many different platforms. They are our historical anchors. They remind us that love is the main ingredient of our collective life existence. They also remind us that we are all one human race. Therefore, we find our places in life through grace. Maine Avenue's education and scholarship program is produced each year to assist high school students with financial needs as they transition to colleges, universities, and related education programs to study and work toward advancing their adult lives, as well as making America an improved nation where diversity and equality with justice exist for all. Today, I want to share with you that our honorary chairperson is unable to be with us, Ms. Stacy Stewart, who is president and CEO of Stewart Funeral Home here in Washington, D.C. However, she sends a message that is high voltage, and it has a note of love and encouragement embraced with wishes of success to each of our scholarship students and to our impressionists and all participants and those who watch. Stewart Funeral Home has supported us since the beginning and access always accessible to us in helping us. You are seeing Miss Stacy Stewart, one of the few high-powered women who operates and manages one of the largest funeral homes that has been operated by their family for over 4 generations. And all the way through, they have maintained the same stewardship as they call it. So since this program is posthumously honoring legends for their leadership, all of whom have gone before us, Maine Avenue wishes to remind each of you and the public at large that it is most important to make arrangements for your end time now. Some of us call it death. We have different words for saying passing on or gone to heaven or wherever. But because we don't know neither when nor where our time will end, it is time now. It is always time to make advance in time preparations. So Stewart Funeral Home offers advanced end of life insurance policies. Again, that's what's called an end to life insurance policy. And they are able to, the policies will help to alleviate crisis situation in families in time of need. I can attest to that because in my own family, we had 2 deaths this month already. My oldest sister's son and daughter. So today, to now, and tomorrow is time for the preparation to make a decision about where you want somebody to help your family in time of need. Stewart Funeral Home is located at 4001 Benning Road Northeast in Washington, D.C. Their phone number is on the screen, 202-399-3600. Their fax number is 202-398-4246, and their website is www.stewartfuneralhome.com. And you can access it in many other ways, as you know. But the proper thing to do now is to know and remember tomorrow, today, it's preparation time now. Now, after we leave Stewart Funeral Home, we're going to go to our Secretary of State for the District of Columbia. Her name is the Honorable Kimberly Bassett, a wonderful woman and person whom I have had the pleasure of working with for the last 10 years as I serve on the Emancipation Commission for the District of Columbia. And so she will share her words of greetings with you. After that, we will have the spotlight on our impressionists who will be theatrically motivated. And subsequently, we will hear from the Honorable Lisa M. Gregory, who is the Chief Administrative Law Judge for the District of Columbia Housing Commission. Lisa, Judge Gregory, will do the induction of the group of people, impressionists, who will be inducted into Maine Avenue's World Hall of Love. Subsequent to that, last but certainly not least, we are grateful to have our summation by the Honorable David Haley, Esquire, Senator from the Kansas State Legislature. Senator Haley has been with us from the outset of the program, and we are all so happy to have him as such an important person to be one of our committed team members. And so the last barrel voice you hear today will be that of Senator Haley, the Honorable David Haley. So before you get too busy, get your cup, whatever you need, get comfortable to learn, listen, and laugh. And remember, cheers of love, of race and grace are in the air, and that love means let's overcome violence everywhere. Race helps us to reach across color lines everywhere, and grace means great relationships with all people. Unity for all, plus treasures and blessings always. Blessings of love always. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And with that, we will now hear from the Honorable Secretary Kimberly Bassett.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kimberly Bassett, and I'm the Secretary of State for Washington, D.C. And I would just like to say hello to everyone. I'm excited to be here. Dr. Mary Ivy, we call a DC icon, a DC treasure. She has done so much for the community with her work on the DC Emancipation Day Commission and all that she does at the Maine Avenue Ministries. And I was on this call last year and was able to see impersonators of Duke Ellington, and we have impersonators of John Lewis. And these icons as well have been amazing. And I just wanted to thank Dr. Mary Ivy for everything. And I'd also like to say that we are proud. We're continue to be proud. We're also very exciting about the Education and Scholarship Fund and all that you've done for our community. So let's continue to build upon this legacy in love. As you said, Dr. Ivy, in love. I also ask you to please feel better, and I'm sorry about your loss that you've had recently. It's going to be an amazing program. So thank you on behalf of the 700,000 residents of Washington, D.C. And everyone, have a good day and enjoy the program.
Mom Beck, tell me your story. Mom Beck was my given name. In a time while I was a slave, if I had been offered 1 minute of freedom and I had been told I had to die at the end of that minute, I would have taken it just to stand 1 minute on God's earth, a free woman. I was born enslaved in Claback, New York, around 1744. My actual date of birth is unknown because I was sold as a child. Later on, I was given to a wealthy landowner named John Ashley. Working in his home and taking care of his 4 children was difficult, and the physical demand of the job never let up. I recall his wife as being quite cruel. She tried to take a heated shovel and hit my sister with. I stepped in and took the blow as proof of her harsh treatment. I left a deep wound in my arm uncovered. Well, I never had control of my life, and I never learned to read or write. I was driven by the ideal of freedom. One day, I heard the reading of the Massachusetts Constitution, and it read, "All men are born equal and free." I listened carefully to every word, and I began to wonder, could that law apply to me? Now, all slave owners thought black people were stupid, but I managed to persuade a young lawyer named Theodore Sedgwick to help me fight for my freedom. In 1781, I became the first black woman in Massachusetts to win freedom. In 1783, all slavery was abolished. After the trial, I received 30 shillings. I used that money to purchase my first home. I also changed my last name to Freeman to celebrate my freedom. I am now known as Elizabeth Freeman. In August of 2022, I was honored with an 8-foot-tall brass statue of myself next to the First Congregational Church in Sheffield, Massachusetts. I died December 28, 1829, a free woman. I still believe where there's a will, there's a way.
As a seminary student in Nashville, Tennessee, I was inspired by Rosa Parks and the Montgomery bus boycott to become an activist in the civil rights movement of the 1960s. I joined the Nashville Student Movement for Racial Justice, founded by Reverend James Lawson, a well-known advocate of nonviolent civil disobedience. He taught me and a generation of men and women how to become peaceful, nonviolent civil rights leaders. I participated in Reverend Lawson's sit-in movement that desegregated lunch counters in downtown businesses in Nashville and led to the formation of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee for Racial Justice, known as SNCC. As chairman of SNCC, I continue to organize demonstrations against racial segregation and pursued voting rights for the disenfranchised. I was one of the original freedom fighters. I was one of the Big Six leaders who organized the 1963 March on Washington. I was arrested 40 times and spent countless days and nights in jail. During sit-ins, I was beaten senseless by policemen and unrestrained angry white mobs. During the Freedom Rides, I was hit in the head and left unconscious in a pool of my own blood outside of the Greyhound bus terminal in Montgomery, Alabama. I participated in Bloody Sunday, the famous march across the Edmund Pettus Bridge that led to the passage of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. During the march, a trooper cracked my skull with his nightstick, knocked me down, and struck me again when I tried to get up. I was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives for Georgia's 5th Congressional District. I served 17 terms. Because of my longevity, moral compass, service to my fellow Georgians, and a relentless pursuit of equal justice for all people, I was known as the Dean of the Georgia Congressional Delegation, a leader of the Democratic Party, and the conscience of Congress. My parents were ashamed when I was arrested as a student for protesting in Nashville. They taught me to accept the world as I found it and to stay out of trouble. But Rosa Parks' courageous refusal to give up her bus seat inspired me to get into trouble, good trouble, when necessary to effect change. Getting into good trouble for the good of my fellow man became my lifelong credo. In recognition of my devotion to equality and justice for all Americans, and for steadfastly defending and building on the civil rights gains that I helped achieve in the 1960s, the United States Postal Service honored me by placing my likeness on its new forever postage stamp. I am Congressman John Robert Lewis.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am Vernon Jordan, and I stand before you as the voice of equality and a believer in the power of change. I am an American business executive, civil rights attorney who worked for various civil rights movement organizations before becoming a close advisor to President Bill Clinton. I grew up in the segregated South, witnessing many injustices. So I decided to devote my life to the civil rights movement. I marched alongside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., fighting for equality, opportunity for all. I understood the power of dialogue and diplomacy. I believed in building bridges, not walls, between communities. And throughout my career, I've led organizations like the National Urban League, worked tirelessly to uplift marginalized communities. I entered the corporate world to create pathways for people of color to succeed. My achievements opened doors for others, shattering glass ceilings and paving the way for diversity in boardrooms. Education was at the heart of progress. I believe in empowering young minds with knowledge and opportunities. In the political arena, I advised and influenced leaders, always pushing for policies that promoted equality and justice for all Americans. The fight for voting rights was close to my heart. I knew that the right to vote was a cornerstone of democracy, and I worked to ensure that every voice was heard. My legacy is one of determination, a legacy that inspires others to stand up, speak out, and fight for what is right. Let's continue the journey toward equality, holding steadfast to the belief that change is possible when we stand united. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening, distinguished guests. In this spring of 1953, a nation's hope of lasting peace cannot be firmly based upon any race in armaments, but rather upon just relations and honest understanding with all other nations. Every gun that is made, every warship launched, every rocket fired signifies, in the final sense, a theft from those who hunger and are not fed, those who are cold and are not clothed. The cost of one modern heavy bomber is this: a modern brick school in more than 30 cities. It is 2 fine, fully equipped hospitals. It is some 50 miles of concrete pavement. We pay for a single fighter plane with 500,000 bushels of wheat. The free world knows, out of the bitter wisdom of experience, that vigilance and sacrifice are the price of liberty. With all who will work in good faith towards such a peace, we are ready with renewed resolve to strive to redeem the near lost hopes of our day. The fruit of success in all these tasks would present the world with the greatest task and the greatest opportunity of all. It is this: the dedication of the energies, the resources, and the imaginations of all peaceful nations to a new kind of war. This would be a declared total war, not upon any human enemy, but upon the brute forces of poverty and need. The monuments to this new war would be roads and schools, hospitals and homes, food and health. We are ready, in short, to dedicate our strength to serving the needs rather than the fears of the world. These proposals spring without ulterior motive or political passion from our calm conviction that the hunger for peace is in the hearts of all people. They aspire to this: the lifting from the backs and from the hearts of men of their burden of arms and of fears, so that they may find before them a golden age of freedom and peace. Thank you.
I was born Betty Dean Sanders in 1934. My teen parents were Ollie Mae Sanders and Shelman Sandlin. I grew up in Detroit, Michigan, and was removed from my mother at 11 because of abuse. Lorenzo and Helen Malloy raised me. The Malloys were active in the AME Church He was a prominent businessman. She was a member of the Housewives League of Detroit, the National Council of Negro Women, and the NAACP. After high school, the church raised funds to help send me to Tuskegee Institute. Though racism was mainly off campus, I was not prepared for it. My studies suffered, and I dropped out of Tuskegee. Later, I enrolled in the Brooklyn State College School of Nursing. During clinicals, racism was different. Black nurses received worse assignments than white nurses, and white patients were often offensive to black nurses. It seemed I traded one form of racism for another. In my second year, I met Malcolm X at a dinner party at the Nation of Islam Temple in Harlem. I began attending his services. I converted to Islam in 1956, changing my name to X. The Nation of Islam did not condone one-on-one dates, so we shared our outings with other members. Malcolm and I were married on January 14th, 1958, the same day I became a licensed practical nurse. In 1964, Malcolm left the Nation of Islam and we joined the Sunni Muslims. My last name became Shabazz. On February 21st, 1965, we were at a meeting of the Organization of Afro-American Unity. While seated in the New York City Audubon Ballroom, Malcolm stood to speak, and a man rushed up and shot him. I was pregnant, inches away from him. I shielded our 4 children, and when the shooting stopped, I tried to give Malcolm CPR, but it was too late. Observers caught some of the assassins, others were arrested later, but all were members of the Nation of Islam. My family was shattered. I relived the horror over and over. Many people were kind as I tried to support our 6 girls, including the twins born after Malcolm died. I received some proceeds from Alex Haley's autobiography of Malcolm X and got earnings from Malcolm's published speeches. Actress Ruby Dee and Juanita Portier formed the Committee of Concerned Mothers and raised money to buy a house for our family and pay for educational expenses. I focused on self-improvement, earning 3 degrees, including a doctorate in education from the University of Massachusetts. By the early 1970s, I was giving public speeches promoting education and human rights. Medgar Evers College offered me the position of associate professor. I accepted it and later became an administrator and fundraiser for the college. In 1975, President Ford invited me to serve on the American Bicentennial Council. I became a member of the Advisory Committee on Family Planning. In 1984, I had hosted the New York Convention of the National Association of Negro Women. I was active in the NAACP, National Urban League, and a member of Links Incorporated, among other organizations. And I will be with Malcolm for all eternity.
My name is Malcolm X, originally named Malcolm Little. My Muslim name is El Hans Malik El Shabazz. My family moved to Lansing, Michigan when I was an infant. At age 6, my father, the Reverend Earl Little, a Baptist minister and supporter of black nationalism, was murdered by whites because of his beliefs. I excelled in school, but at the 8th grade, my teacher told me I should be a carpenter rather than a lawyer. I was a very rebellious young man. I went to prison from 1946 to 1952 when I underwent a conversion that eventually led me to the Nation of Islam, an African-American movement that combined the elements of Islam and black nationalism. My decision to join was influenced by my brother Reginald, who had become a member of the Nation in Detroit. I quit all my vices, smoking, drinking, gambling, and refused to eat pork in keeping with the Nation's dietary restrictions. I changed my surname, Little, to X. Little was my slave name. I'm for justice, no matter who it is, for or against. I'm a human being first, and as such, I'm whosoever benefits humanity as a whole. It has always been my belief that I will die by violence. I've done all I could to prevent it. I've had enough of so many people's propaganda. As long as we fight civil rights on the level of human rights, we're under Uncle Sam's jurisdiction. Let the world see that Uncle Sam is guilty of violating the human rights of 22 million African Americans right down to 1964, and still has the audacity to stand up and represent itself as the leader of the free nation. The ballot or the bullet. To use the ballot means to exercise one's voting rights, to put a politician in office who will work to end racial oppression. Who of you will continue in my footsteps for equality, freedom, justice, human rights for black people? We must continue. There's a saying, if they don't teach you right, they won't treat you right. Our struggles still exist. My name is Malcolm X.
Hello, everyone. I'm the voice, Whitney Houston. Music has been in my blood from day one. I was born into a family of incredible singers, and my mother, Sissy Houston, taught me how to sing with soul and passion. As a young girl, I dreamed of sharing my voice with the world. Little did I know that my dreams would take me far beyond my wildest imagination. I started as a model and a backup singer, but soon the world would know my name. My self-titled debut album reached heights I never thought possible. And from there was no turning back. My music touched hearts and souls. Songs like "The Greatest Love of All" became anthems of love, hope, and resilience for countless people. My concerts became a place where people from all walks of life could come together and find solace in the beauty of music. I wanted to show the world that talent knows no boundaries. My success wasn't just about fame and fortune. It was about using my platform to make a difference in people's lives. I supported various charitable organizations, from helping children in need to advocating for HIV/AIDS awareness. Using my voice to bring attention to important issues was a responsibility I took to heart. Looking back, I could say that I changed the world in my own way. My music brought joy, comfort, and inspiration to millions. My performances touched hearts and transcended boundaries. To anyone out there with a dream, remember this: you have a unique voice, and it deserves to be heard. Embrace your passion, and never let anyone dim your light. Together, we can create a world filled with love, compassion, and beautiful music.
I was born Anna Mae Bullock in Brownsville, Tennessee on November 26, 1939. My parents were Floyd Richard Bullock and Zelma Priscilla. I grew up in rural Tennessee with two older sisters. My father oversaw sharecroppers and I sang in a church choir. I even recall picking cotton when I was young. In 1950, my mother Zelma left. I felt unwanted as my sisters and I were sent back to live with our maternal grandmother. When I was 16, my grandmother died and I went back to live with my mother in St. Louis. In 1957, I sang in a nightclub which got the attention of Ike Turner. From then on, I became a featured vocalist in his band. I was introduced to the world as Tina Turner when I released my hit single, A Fool in Love, in 1960. In Hollywood, I earned income by appearing on TV shows and performing as a solo act. Through my career's ups and downs, I did earn 3 Grammy Awards in 1985. In 1991, Ike and I were inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. In 2005, I was recognized by the Kennedy Honor Center, and in 2008, I performed with Beyonce at the Grammy Awards. Towards the end of my career, I released books and had musicals and movies done about me. In 2021, I sold my music rights for $50 million. In 2023, I passed away in my home in Switzerland. I lived a fulfilling life and was known as the Queen of Rock and Roll. I am Tina Turner.
Known better as Harry, I was born Harold George Belafonte Jr., March 1st, 1927, in Harlem, New York, to Caribbean immigrants. In my youth, I bounced around, being cared for by different people while my mother worked to provide for our family after my father left. I dropped out of high school in 1944 and enlisted in the Navy, where I was assigned to Port Chicago, California. There, my job was to load military ships that were bound for the Pacific Theater during World War II. Upon my discharge in 1945, I returned to New York City, where I used my GI Bill benefits to take classes at the New School Dramatic Workshop. There I met future stars Marlon Brando and Sidney Poitier. During this time, I also performed at nightclubs, often with jazz legends like Charlie Parker and Miles Davis. In 1949, I landed my first recording deal as a jazz singer, but soon thereafter I transitioned to singing folk music. My musical career would lead to great success. With hits like the Banana Boat song, I became a household name and the face of folk music. My album Calypso was the first full-length album to sell over 1 million copies. Around the same time I began to find success in the music industry, I found success as an actor, debuting on Broadway in 1954 and winning a Tony Award just 1 year later. I'd go on to become a star on the big screen as well, with film success across several decades. As an entertainer, I won Emmy, Tony, and Grammy Awards, but none of the accolades were more important than my work as a political and social activist. I became a major financial supporter of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee and participated in many rallies and protests. As both a friend of Martin Luther King Jr. and a leader of the Civil Rights Movement, I also aided in the organization of the March on Washington in 1963. I spent the rest of my life speaking out against injustice and attempting to effect change on issues, both domestic and abroad, from serving as an ambassador on UNICEF to speaking out against apartheid in South Africa. My time on Earth came to an end on April 25, 2023, at the age of 96. I left behind 4 children and a legacy of musical ingenuity, entertainment excellence, and a commitment to justice and equality.
My singing career spanned 50 years, right up until the day I died in 1973 at the age of 58. It has been said that rock and roll owes its existence to me, but sadly, I receive little of the credit that the men I influenced, particularly white men, enjoy. I was born into music. I was born in Cotton Plant, Arkansas in 1915. My mother was a singer, musician, deaconess, missionary, and speaker in the Church of God in Christ. I picked up the guitar at the age of 4, singing "Jesus is on the Main Line." By age 6, I appeared regularly with my mother, performing a mix of gospel and secular music styles that would eventually make me famous. As a young person, I could sing and keep on pitch and hold a melody. My vocal qualities, however, paled beside my abilities on the guitar. Playing individual tones, melodies, and riffs instead of just strumming chords. This talent was all the more remarkable because at the time, few African American women played guitar. During this time, masculinity was directly linked to guitar skills. I was often offered the intended compliment that I could play like a man. After several years of working with my mother, I moved to New York, and at the age of 23, I recorded for the first time. The first gospel songs recorded by Decca Records, Rock Me, That's All, My Man and I, and The Lonesome Road were instant hits, establishing me as an overnight sensation and one of the first commercially successful gospel recording artists. The popularity of these singles led to my inclusion in John Hammond's Black Music Extravaganza, From Spirituals to Swing, held at Carnegie Hall in New York City in December of 1938. After this well-publicized event, I went on a concert tour throughout the Northeast. In the late 40s, I returned to more strictly religious songs, recording Didn't It Rain and Up Above My Head with Marie Knight. My music and influence continue years after my death. My songs have been recorded by Elvis Presley, and Johnny Cash spoke of my impact on his music. In 1998, the U.S. Postal Service created a stamp to honor me. In 2003, a tribute album, Shout Sister Shout, was released with versions of my songs performed by female artists. In 2018, I was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in the Early Influence category. I am Sister Rosetta Tharpe, gospel singer and godmother of rock and roll.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am Duke Ellington, and I want to take you on a journey through the soulful world of jazz. Growing up in Washington, D.C., I was surrounded by the sounds of the city, blues, jazz, and rhythms that stirred my heart. Music was my language, a way to express what words couldn't capture. I played the piano with a passion, and the world listened. My time at the Cotton Club in Harlem was a turning point. There, my band and I became the heartbeat of the city, forging a unique sound that would define an era. I wanted to push the boundaries of jazz, to break the mold and create something entirely new. My compositions were an exploration of my emotions, blending different styles into one. Working with talented musicians was a joy. I encouraged them to shine. Knowing that their brilliance added depth and richness to our performances, leading the Duke Ellington Orchestra was a privilege. We traveled the world, sharing the magic of jazz from one continent to another. Then came the Harlem Renaissance, a celebration of Black culture and creativity. Through my music, I was proud to be a part of the artistic movement that changed the world's perception of African American artistry. As an African American band leader and composer, I broke down racial barriers in the music industry. My success paved the way for other Black musicians to be recognized and appreciated. My legacy is one of innovation, collaboration, and commitment to the art of jazz. I hope my music continues to inspire musicians and audience for generations to come. Thank you for joining me with this musical journey. Let's keep the spirit of jazz alive, always evolving, always reaching for new heights.
Hello, I'm Nichelle Nichols. I was born in Robbins, Illinois, a suburb near Chicago, and one of 6 children. I was married and divorced twice. My son, Cal Johnson, was born during my first marriage. My career began as a singer, dancer, and a runway model in 1966. I had a starring role on the CBS series Star Trek. I was portrayed as Lieutenant Uhura, aka Nyota Uhura. My role was translator, communications officer aboard the USS Enterprise starship. Star Trek was a science fiction CBS American series that aired during 1966 through 1968. Star Trek is noted in the World Book of Guinness as the most American syndicated television series. Our mission aboard the USS Enterprise was a 5-year voyage to space where no man has gone before. My famous co-stars were Captain James Kirk and Dr. Spock the Vulcan. Captain Kirk, actor William Shatner, and I performed the first interracial kiss on American television in 1968, 1 year after the Supreme Court ruling declaring interracial marriages legal. My role on Star Trek strengthened the civil rights movement. After Apollo 13, I became an advocate at NASA, National Aeronautics and Space Administration. My mission was inspiring minorities to join NASA, change the face of STEM, science, technology, and math. My collaboration with NASA helped produce my program, Women in Motion, that produced the first female and Black astronauts, Dr. Sally Rise, Colonel Guion Buford, Dr. Judy Resnick, and Dr. Ronald McNair. Today, my legacy has helped to inspire and prepare Christina Koch and Victor Glover, the 2 first Black astronauts actually launching into space in 2024 or early 2025. In 1992, I received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and received the Life Career Award from the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Honor Films in 2016. Portrayed by Charlotte Henry, Master of Science, Mid-America Christian University, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Thank you.
My name is William Bill Russell. I was born in Monroe, Louisiana in 1934. I experienced very hard times growing up because I was doing the Jim Crow era. But I went on to be very successful as a collegiate basketball player with the San Francisco Dons, winning championship 55, 56. Later on, even having greater success with the Boston Celtics, winning 11 championships in a 13-year period of time. My mostly was known for my ferocious rebounding and my furious defense. I went on to become a civil rights leader when I started a protest when we was a few service at a restaurant in Lexington, Kentucky. And another great achievement was meeting with President Obama in 2011 when he presented me the Medal of Freedom Award. I died July the 31st, 2022.
Guess who's coming to dinner? In the early 50s, I was the top and virtually sole African-American film star. I was the first Black actor to become a hero for both Black and white audiences. Additionally, I was the first Black actor to win a prestigious international film award. Where did it begin? I was born on February 20th, 1927 in Miami, Florida. I was the youngest of 7 children born to Afro-Bohemian farmers on Cat Island. We would travel to Miami to sell produce to wholesalers, and I was unexpectedly born in Miami where my parents were there on business. Though I grew up in the Bahamas, then a British Crown colony, my birth in the United States entitled me to United States citizenship. At the age of 15 years old, I was sent to Miami to live with my brother's family, but found it impossible to adjust to the racism in Jim Crow era Florida. I quickly moved to New York City looking to become an actor, holding a string of jobs as a dishwasher in the meantime. After failing my first audition with African Negro theater due to my inability to fluently read a script, a kind Jewish waiter worked with me nightly for several weeks to help me improve my reading by using the newspaper. During World War II, I lied about my age and enlisted in the United States Army. I was only 16 years old at the time. After leaving the Army, I joined the African American Negro Theater, landing my breakthrough film role as a high school student in the film Blackboard Jungle in 1955. I gained stardom for leading roles such as The Defiant Ones in 1958, for which I made history, becoming the first African American to receive an Academy Award for Best Actor nomination. Additionally, I won the Silver Bear for Best Actor for my performance. In 1964, I won the Academy Award and the Golden Globe for Best Actor for Lilies on the Field. I also received acclaim for Porgy, A Raisin in the Sun, and A Patch of Blue because of strong roles as epic African American male characters. I continued to break ground in 3 successful in 1967 films which dealt with issues of race and race relations, to Sir with Love, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, and In the Heat of the Night, the latter of which earned me Golden Globe and BAFTA award nominations. In a poll the next year, I was voted the U.S. top box office star. I also directed various films, including A Warm December, Uptown Saturday Night, and Crazy Stir. And in later years, starred in Shoot to Kill and Sneakers. I was granted a knighthood by Queen Elizabeth II, received numerous honors including the Golden Globe, Cecil B. DeMille Award, and the Kennedy Center Honor in 1995. Also, Screen Actors Life Achievement Award in 1999, and the Honorary Academy Award in 2002. In 2009, he was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by President Barack Obama. I was the Bahamian ambassador to Japan. I am Sidney Poitier, an American actor, film director, and diplomat.
Hello darlings, my name is Audrey Hepburn, and not only was I a legendary Hollywood actress, but also a symbol of elegance, grace, and compassion. To this day, my dedication to humanitarian efforts inspires generations worldwide. I was born in Brussels during the turmoil of war. Life was challenging, but it taught me the value of empathy for others in times of hardship. As a young girl, I dreamed of becoming a ballerina, but life had other plans. Acting found me, and I embraced it with open arms, becoming a storyteller on the silver screen. My portrayal of Princess Anne in Roman Holiday opened doors I never thought possible. An Academy Award and Golden Globe soon followed, forever changing my life. From Breakfast at Tiffany's to My Fair Lady, my characters touched hearts and became symbols of elegance, grace, and resilience. But it wasn't just about fame and glamour. My heart yearned to make a difference in the lives of those who needed help the most. As a UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador, I traveled to places ravaged by poverty and famine, holding the hands of children in need and advocating for their rights. My work with UNICEF wasn't just a role, it was a calling. I wanted to use my fame to shine a light on the plight of those forgotten by the world. Together, we transformed lives and brought hope to children and families who had none. My humanitarian work became my greatest achievement. My legacy is one of love, art, and giving back. I hope my journey inspires others to help those less fortunate. Compassion knows no boundaries. We can all make a difference, one small act of kindness at a time.
My birth name is Maggie Lena Draper, but I'm sure you know me as Maggie Lena Walker. I was born on July 15, 1864 in Richmond, and I became a sound and solid American businesswoman and a teacher. In 1903, I became the first African American woman to charter a bank and the first African American woman to serve as a bank president. Yes, indeed, I was a bank president. As a leader, I achieved successes with a vision to make tangible improvements in the lives of African American people. My mother, Elizabeth Draper, a former slave, was an assistant cook at the Van Loo Estate in Churchill of Richmond, Virginia, where she met a man named Eccles Cuthbert, an Irish American journalist, my father. There is no record of my parents' marriage. Later, my mother married a man named Mr. William Mitchell, and we lived near the First African Baptist Church, and it was an economic, political, and social center for the local Black community, and I was inspired. When I was 14 years old, I joined the local council of the Independent Order of St. Luke. This society ministered to the sick and aged, promoted humanitarian causes, and encouraged individual self-help and integrity. After graduating from the Richmond Colored National School in 1883, I then taught for 3 years at my former school. In 1902, I published a newspaper for the St. Luke Herald. And then shortly thereafter, I chartered, oh, this is good news, the St. Luke Penny Savings Bank. And there I served as the bank's first president, and it earned me the recognition of being the first African-American woman to charter a bank in the United States. Later, I served as chairman of the board of directors when the bank merged with 2 other Richmond banks, and it became the Consolidated Bank and Trust Company, which grew to serve generations of Richmonders as an African-American owned institution. I married, had children, was inducted as an honorary member of the new chapter of Zeta Phi Beta. A high school was named after me. I was featured on a poster entitled 101 Prominent Colored People. I received an honorary master's degree from Virginia Union University. And there was a St. Luke building, you know about that. It's on the National Historic Register of Places. And let me tell you another thing. There is a statue of me at the Maggie L. Walker Memorial Plaza. And I'm really excited about this. In 2020, I was one of 8 women featured in The Only One in the Room. And it's displayed at the Smithsonian National Museum of American History. Later in my life, I was disabled by paralysis and I used a wheelchair, but it did not stop me. I became an example for people with disabilities, and I became an advocate too. My life's journey on this side of heaven ended on December 15, 1934, but my legacy lives on. I am indeed Maggie Lena Walker.
Welcome, everyone. I am Alma Thomas, and I invite you to explore the world through the colors of my soul. I was born in Columbus, Georgia, a place where my love for art first blossomed. I worked as a teacher and a librarian, but deep down, I knew my true calling was painting. My art was an expression of the world around me, nature, music, and the emotions within. I saw beauty in every hue, and my goal was to share that beauty with the world. I explore abstract art, blending colors like a musical note on canvas. My Alma's stripe and color-filled paintings brought joy and movement to life. I was the first African American woman to have a solo exhibit at the Whitney Museum of American Art. It was a moment of triumph, a chance to show young artists, especially women of color, that they too could pursue their artistic dreams fearlessly. Nature was my greatest muse. I found inspiration in its beauty, the blossoms, the seasons, the changing colors. My Earth Sermon series was a tribute to Earth's wonders. I changed the world through my art, which invited people to see life through a kaleidoscope of colors, to embrace diversity, and to celebrate the beauty that surrounds us. My paintings continue to inspire generations of artists, reminding them to stay true to their unique visions. My legacy lives on in every stroke of a brush and in the joy my colorful art brings. Bye.
Hello, my name is Henrietta Lacks. Some folks call me Hala too. Funny, isn't it? A woman like me, an ordinary woman, has a name that's famous all around the world. You see, I was born in Roanoke, Virginia, a country girl, just trying to make my way through life, raising my 5 beautiful children with my husband, Day. Life was never easy, but we had each other. Then one day I found myself in a hospital wondering what was going on inside me. The doctors took some of my cells without telling me. Turns out my cells were different, strong, dividing, and multiplying like nobody's business. In short, they were immortal. We now call my cells the immortal HeLa cells. HeLa cells did incredible things for science, helped find cures, save lives. I didn't know it then, but my tiny cells were changing the world. They've been used to develop the polio vaccine, played significant roles in research related to cancer, AIDS, human genetics, and cell biology. And they've been the source of many Nobel Prize-winning medical discoveries. But there's one thing that's always been hard for me to understand. How come nobody asked? Doctors took something from me without my permission. That's stealing. Even as my cells travel to places I can only dream of, I never knew. My cells have made billions, and me and my family didn't receive a single cent. I'm happy my cells can help people, that something good can come out of my pain and struggle. But I'm also happy to share my story so that people know the importance of consent. I may not be here anymore, but I want you to remember the woman behind those HeLa cells, the woman who had a story, dreams, and love to give. Life is not always fair, but maybe my immortal cells can make it a little bit better for someone else. So if you ever hear about HeLa cells, remember me, Henrietta Lacks, a simple woman whose cells changed the entire world.
Hello, my name is Lucy Ann Ballard Henry, and I was born in a rural area in Bayonne, Oklahoma on October 19, 1910. Growing up, we faced some rough times, but we had so much love. Due to discrimination, I only completed the 8th grade. At the age of 17 years old, I married Boyd Henry. Together, we had 5 children. Despite not finishing my education, I made sure my family was taken care of by working for the Brockmans, who owned a store uptown. Also, Glenn and Margaret Armstrong, who owned the Armstrong Bank. Lastly, I worked for the Horns, who had a lumber company in which I did day work and cared for their children. Because we developed a good friendship, they sold lumber to me at a low price. This enabled me to become the first Black woman to build and own my own house. Later, I built several other houses and started renting them to earn extra money. Out of everything I did to support my family, I'm most grateful for God giving me the strength to take care of my mother and my great uncle, who were both bedridden for many years, as well as numerous other family members. As a faithful member, I served as Sunday school superintendent at First Missionary Baptist Church. I was also an entrepreneur and sold many products in the Black community. I passed away on April 12th, 1997, confident that everything was going to be all right.
Greetings to each of you. It is my distinct pleasure to induct you into the Maine Avenue Ministries World Hall of Love. Your participation in this most worthwhile historical, educational, and informational program is a treasure that will be both seen and remembered for years to come. Your names will forever be archived in the United States Library of Congress. The variety of leadership and legends are precious and deserve to be revered. Congratulations, congratulations, and congratulations. We look forward to moving this event to a more prominent stage, and so we're excited that this is the first public program for our participation on America's rural Broadway stage. Thank
you. Each of these recitations, the review that we've been privileged to share of the legacies that are being given to the legends that are indeed across our country and by those who presented them, are flawless interpretations of remembrances that should be inculcated and that should flow from each of us from breast to breast. During this, the grace, the race, and the harmony of this country, unique in the people across the board, be it from entertainment, be it from science, be it from sports, be it from entrepreneurship, show the endeavor that all of us should take heart from. I am privileged to have been a part of some of this civil strife. I have to give a brief moment of personal privilege in thanking the reinterpretation of Betty Shabazz and the remembrance of my late uncle, Alex Haley, and his book, The Autobiography of Malcolm X, which did contribute to one of the presenters today. But it's not about any individual. In this great country, in our American tapestry, when we're so often called upon now to not remember our history or to reinterpret it, or in some way not be called as a kindred people to extol the virtues and to draw heart from it all. And so today that we've taken this time, and to each of the presenters, I'm just glad this were not a decision that had to be made like America's Got Talent, because I certainly could not have judged personally, because they were all so tremendously done. I thank you for allowing me to be a part of it. And again, our convener for this, I believe, is the third meeting, or the third opportunity that we have had the program, or that I've been at least allowed to be a part of it. Thank Dr. Mary Ivy And for pulling this together, Ms. Autumn Rain, and those who have worked so diligently to help us to take a moment, just a moment on what is, no doubt if you are where I am in this country, a very warm, if not hot, Sunday afternoon, to take a moment and bask in the shade of the trees that were planted by the others whose lives we've just remembered, and to thank them for their courage, their intellect, their ongoing commitment to forge a better society, a stronger society, through faith and through promise. Thank you again, and God bless each of you. What a fellowship this has been. What a joy divine.